Let me talk to you real quick. I don't know who needs to hear this, but you didn't come through everything you've come through just to stop now. You didn't cry those tears. You didn't bleed in silence. You didn't suffer those losses and still wake up every morning just for it to mean nothing. You think God brought you through the fire just to leave you in the ashes? Nah. You think he carried you through the storm when you didn't even have the strength to walk on your own just to watch you drown in the shallow end now? No. See, some of you forget where you started. You forget you had no support. You forget you had nothing but a dream and a little bit of faith. But somehow, some way, you're still here, still breathing, still fighting, still standing. Why? Because God didn't bring you this far to leave you. Listen, life hit you with uppercuts. Life threw you to the mat. People walked out on you. People counted you out. But let me remind you, God never left. There were nights you were on the floor crying and he was right there beside you. There were mornings you didn't want to get out of bed, but something in you said, keep going. That wasn't just your will, that was his whisper. Get up, keep fighting. I'm not done with you yet. You're closer than you think. The enemy's not attacking you because you're weak. He's attacking you because he sees what's coming. He knows what's on your life. He knows the calling you've got. He knows the greatness you're walking into. Don't hear me. Don't fold. Don't let the weight break you. Don't confuse a chapter with the whole book. Yes, it's hard. Yes, you're tired. But he didn't bring you through hell and back just so you could stop in the middle of the blessing. It's on the other side of pain. It's on the other side of pressure. It's on the other side of that moment when you feel like giving up. Well, you can't stop now. You didn't come this far to quit. You didn't survive just to settle. You didn't pray all those prayers just to doubt now. You came this far because God has a plan, a purpose, a promise. So dig deep, square your shoulders, wipe your tears, and tell yourself right now, if he brought me this far, he's not done yet. Keep pushing, keep climbing, keep believing, because God didn't bring you this far to leave you. You didn't survive all that just to quit now. Read that again. Let it sink in. You didn't endure all those battles, those sleepless nights, those moments of fear and confusion just to throw in the towel now. You didn't push through the chaos, the betrayal, the losses, the heartbreaks just to stop halfway up the mountain. If quitting was in you, you would have done it a long time ago. If you were the type to fold, life would have crushed you back then. But guess what? It didn't. You're still standing. Think about everything you've overcome. Really think about it. The days when you didn't know how you were going to make it. The days when the weight was so heavy you could barely breathe. The moments when you looked around and saw nobody, no support, no answers, no way out, but you kept going anyway. You didn't give up when the money was gone. You didn't give up when the people you trusted turned their backs on you. You didn't give up when your body was tired, your mind was overwhelmed, and your heart was broken. So why would you even consider quitting now? There's a reason you survived what others didn't. There's a reason why, despite every hit you took, you still found a way to get back up. It wasn't by accident. It wasn't luck. It wasn't coincidence. It was purpose. It was divine alignment. It was something greater moving through you and keeping you alive, even when you didn't have the strength to keep yourself going. That wasn't just your willpower. That was your calling, refusing to let go of you. That was the assignment on your life, saying, you're not done yet. See, you didn't make it through all those storms just to sit down in the rain. You didn't learn how to swim through all that deep water just to drown in the shallow end. The pressure you've been under wasn't meant to break you. It was meant to shape you, to mold you, to prepare you. You've been forged by the fire, and you think now's the time to back down? No, you didn't walk through hell just to camp out there. You walked through it because there was something on the other side that had your name on it. Let's be real. If you look back over your life, there were moments that should have taken you out. Things you went through that people would have folded under, and not just big dramatic things. I'm talking about the quiet battles, the ones nobody saw, the nights you sat in silence and fought battles in your mind that felt louder than bombs. The mornings you forced yourself to get up, not because you felt strong, but because you knew staying down would cost you everything. You made it through that, you survived that. So why would you quit now when you're closer than you've ever been? The enemy wants you to believe it was all for nothing. He wants to convince you that the pain didn't mean anything, that the struggle didn't have purpose, that the journey was just chaos without meaning. But deep down, you know better. You know every tear watered a seed. You know every scar told a story of resilience. You know that every moment you didn't quit, even when quitting felt easier, was a step towards something bigger. You've already paid the price. You've already made the sacrifices. You've already sown the seeds. This is not the time to stop. This is the time to press. You didn't fight through trauma, disappointment, depression, and doubt just to be average. You didn't come through the wilderness to build a house in the desert. You came through because there's something waiting for you, something you were born to do. But you won't get there by quitting. You won't see it if you give up now. You've already come too far, survived too much, learned too many lessons to stop short of the finish line. This is where champions are made, not in the comfort, but in the resistance, not in the easy moments, but in the decision to keep going when nothing makes sense. You've got history with struggle. You got a relationship with pain, but you also have a record of overcoming. Every time you thought you wouldn't make it, you did. Every time you said, I can't do this, and then did it anyway, that was proof. Proof that something in you is stronger than everything that tried to break you. Proof that you've been equipped for more than just survival. You've been equipped for purpose, for power, for impact, but that impact can't come if you stop now. You were built different. You weren't built to quit. You weren't built to give up halfway. You weren't built to sit on the sidelines of your own life, watching time pass while your destiny waits. You were built to rise, to endure, to fight back. You didn't come this far on accident. Everything that tried to break you only revealed what you're made of. And what you're made of, it's something this world can't take away. You've got people counting on you. You've got a future that depends on you not giving up. You've got a legacy in the making. And every time you think about quitting, you've got to remember what you came through. You've got to remember how far you've come. You've got to remember that it wasn't easy. And that alone is the reason you can't stop now. If it was easy, everybody would do it. But you're not everybody. You're not average. You're chosen, you're called, and chosen people don't get to quit just because it's hard. They don't get to stop just because it hurts. They rise, they grind, they keep moving forward, even with tears in their eyes, even with weights on their shoulders. Even when the world says it's over, God is still with you. Even in silence and struggle, that silence you're feeling right now, that space where you're wondering if he hears you, if he sees what you're going through, that's not abandonment, that's not absence, that's not distance. That silence is still sacred, it's still holy, it's still filled with his presence. Just because you can't hear him doesn't mean stop speaking. Just because you can't see him doesn't mean he's not moving. You've been taught to equate noise with proof. You've been taught that if God isn't answering quickly, then he's ignoring you. That if you don't feel goosebumps or see signs every second, then he must have walked away. But what if the silence is where he's building your strength? What if the quiet season is the place he's growing your roots deeper? Because not every lesson comes with a shout. Some come with a whisper. Some come in stillness. Some come when you have to lean in with everything you've got just to feel a flicker of hope. That's where your faith starts to stretch. It's easy to feel God when things are going well. It's easy to praise when you've got momentum. It's easy to believe when the doors are opening and your prayers are being answered on schedule. But what about the moments when heaven feels shut off? When your prayers hit the ceiling and fall back down unanswered? What about when you've done everything right and still everything feels wrong? That's the real test. That's the furnace. That's where trust is forged. Because if you can believe in the silence, you've got something unshakable. Silence isn't always punishment. Struggle isn't always a sign that you're off track. Sometimes it's confirmation that you're right where you need to be, that you're in the process, that you're in the pressing, that you're in the refining. God never promised the path would be without pain. He promised he'd be with you in it. He didn't say the road would be smooth. He said, I will never leave you nor forsake you. And if he said it, he meant it. Even when your emotions try to lie to you, even when the enemy whispers doubt into your ear, the word stands stronger than your feelings. In the moment you feel forgotten, understand you're not. He doesn't forget what he created. He doesn't abandon what he started. He's a finisher. He's not halfway through your story wondering how it's going to end. He already knows. He's already gone before you. What feels like a delay to you is divine alignment to him. What feels like a dead end to you is a setup for a turn you couldn't see coming. You might not hear him, but he's behind the scenes, shifting pieces, opening doors, closing others, protecting you from things you didn't even know were trying to destroy you. That struggle you're in, it's not random. It's not meaningless. It's not wasted. The tears, the confusion, the internal battles, they're not invisible. They're being counted, stored, used. You don't see how it's coming together, but he does. You don't see how the pain plays a role in the promise, but he does. And every time you get up when you don't feel like it, every time you show up broken, but still show up, heaven sees it. That obedience, that consistency, that surrender in the dark, it matters. It echoes louder than your doubt. You can't always trace God's hand, but you can trust his heart. You've got to believe that. Even when life is loud with pain and he seems quiet, he's closer than your breath. The same God who parted the Red Sea can part the silence in your soul. The same God who walked through fire with 3 men in a furnace is walking with you through this trial. Just because you don't feel him doesn't mean he stepped away. Faith was never built on feelings. It was built on knowing. Some of the strongest seasons of your life won't be the ones filled with miracles and mountaintop moments. They'll be the ones when everything felt heavy and hollow and you still said, I trust you. When you were angry, confused, exhausted, and still chose not to quit. That's faith in motion. That's relationship, not religion. That's the kind of connection with God that doesn't break when life gets hard. It gets stronger because you learn in the struggle that his silence isn't rejection, it's preparation, it's development, it's trust being deepened. You're not alone even if you feel lonely. You're not forsaken even if your mind screams that you are. You've got to learn to separate the facts from your feelings. The fact is God is still with you. The fact is you're still breathing, still covered, still standing, even with all the hits you've taken. That's not by chance. That's not random. That's not luck. That's divine. You don't have to understand it to trust it. You don't have to see the whole path to take the next step. That's what faith is. God sees what you don't say. He hears the cries that never leave your mouth. He knows the battles that never make it into your status updates or your prayer circles. You're not invisible to him. You're not just another name. You're not just forgotten. You are seen. You are held, even in the struggle, especially in the struggle. Some of the most powerful growth happens in the dark. Just like seeds don't grow in the sunlight alone, they're buried first, covered, hidden, pressed down in the dirt before they ever rise. That silence you're in, it might be the soil. That pressure you're feeling, it might be the water. That delay you're experiencing, it might be the sunlight just out of reach. But all of it is working together to bring something forth in you, something stronger, something deeper, something that couldn't be built in comfort. God isn't distant, he's intentional. Every season, every silence, every struggle has a purpose. Not a moment has been wasted, not a tear, not a prayer, not a breath. He sees it all. Your pain has a purpose, don't waste it. Every tear you cried, every sleepless night you endured, every moment you questioned why, it wasn't in vain. Pain is one of life's greatest teachers. It doesn't show up to destroy you. It shows up to develop you. There's something sacred about pain, something that can't be taught in comfort. Comfort keeps you safe, but pain stretches you. It pulls you out of what you thought you knew and drops you into the depths of who you really are. Pain doesn't come to visit without carrying something in its hands. Sometimes it carries clarity, sometimes it brings strength, other times it comes with wisdom wrapped in scars. But no matter what form it takes, it never leaves you the same. You might walk away limping, but you'll walk away with insight. You might walk away tired, but you'll walk away stronger. Pain reveals what's real. It exposes what's weak. It highlights what needs healing, but most of all, it shows you what's inside of you that can't be broken. If you're in pain, that means something in you is being refined. Something in you is shifting. We don't grow when we're comfortable. We grow when we're tested. We grow when the weight gets heavy and we choose to keep lifting. We grow when life breaks us open and we still find the courage to stand in the middle of the wreckage. That's where purpose starts to show its face. Not when everything is going according to plan, but when everything falls apart and you still don't quit. There's a difference between pointless suffering and purposeful pain. Pointless suffering is what happens when we go through something and learn nothing, when we go through the fire and walk out bitter instead of better. But purposeful pain, that's when you take the worst of what life gave you and turn it into something valuable. That's when you refuse to let the pain be the period at the end of your story. That's when you say, if I had to go through it, then it's going to mean something. It's going to fuel me. It's going to shape me. It's going to build something that can't be shaken. Some of your deepest purpose will be born out of your deepest wounds. The very thing that tried to break you may be the very thing that wakes you up. That loss, that heartbreak, that betrayal, that failure, it might be the soil where your purpose starts to grow. We think purpose shows up all polished and perfect, but more often it shows up dirty, scarred, tired, and tried by fire. It shows up after the breakdown. It shows up in the middle of rebuilding. Purpose often comes dressed in pain. Don't waste your pain by pretending it didn't happen. Don't waste it by burying it so deep you never deal with it. Don't waste it by letting it make you bitter, small, or afraid. Process it, face it, learn from it, then use it. Use it to help someone else. Use it to fuel your discipline. Use it to fuel your prayers. Use it to push your vision. Use it to remind yourself of what you survived and what you'll never tolerate again. There's something powerful about a person who's been through pain and decided not to stay there. Something unshakable about someone who's walked through the fire and came out with more wisdom than wounds. That kind of person can't be bought, can't be broken, can't be distracted, because once you've seen what pain can teach you, you realize not everything that hurt you was sent to harm you. Some of it was sent to heal you in ways nothing else could. You've got to ask yourself, what was the pain trying to show me? What did I gain that I never would have gained without that loss? What strength was pulled out of me that would have stayed hidden if life hadn't backed me into a corner? Pain demands a response. It will either pull the best out of you or the worst, but it won't leave you the same. You decide what it becomes. You decide if it becomes poison or power. Pain is a language. It speaks in silence. It speaks in the moments where words don't work. It teaches you things about yourself you never knew. It teaches you how deep your faith really is, how solid your mindset really is, how strong your spirit really is. Pain removes the mask. It strips away the extra. It shows you what's real. And once you know what's real, you can stop wasting energy on what's fake. Some of you went through things you didn't deserve, pain you didn't ask for, situations that blindsided you. But even in that, purpose is still possible. Redemption is still possible. You can't go back and change what happened, but you can decide what it means going forward. You can decide that your pain won't be your prison, it'll be your platform. You can decide that your scars won't be symbols of shame, they'll be symbols of strength. People think purpose always feels good. It doesn't. Sometimes it feels like a burden. Sometimes it feels like carrying weight you never asked to carry. But what you carry now can lift others later. What you've been through can be someone else's blueprint. Your survival can become someone else's strategy. But that can only happen if you're willing to face your pain, heal from it, and then use it Stop running from it. Stop numbing it. Stop hiding it. Your pain has value. It carries instruction. It's part of your story. And your story has power. Power to connect, power to inspire, power to lead, but only if you're willing to own it, to sit with it, to ask it what it came to teach. You can't escape pain, but you can grow from it. You can let it change you, not into someone broken, but into someone built with grit, built with resilience, built with something no easy path could ever give you. The moment you start seeing pain as preparation is the moment it loses its power to destroy you. The moment you stop asking, why me, and start asking, what now? That's when the shift begins. That's when the healing begins. That's when pain becomes fuel. Pain becomes insight. Pain becomes a lens through which you start seeing life with more compassion, more depth, more clarity. Don't let your pain be wasted. Let it be used. Let it birth something in you. Let it sharpen your purpose, deepen your empathy, heighten your discernment. Pain has purpose if you're willing to pay attention. The enemy attacks what he fears. Your future is powerful. That pressure you're feeling right now, that storm you're caught in the middle of, that resistance that keeps showing up every time you start moving forward, it's not because you're weak. It's because you're dangerous. It's because you're carrying something that threatens everything the enemy is trying to build. He's not attacking you because you're broken. He's attacking you because of what's on the inside of you, because of what you're becoming, because of what you're about to do that he can't stop unless he distracts you, delays you, or discourages you, right? You've got to shift how you see the fight. It's not random. It's not meaningless. The warfare around your life is a direct reflection of the potential inside your life. If you weren't a threat, there wouldn't be a target on your back. The enemy doesn't go after people who aren't going anywhere. He doesn't bother chasing people who have no direction. He comes for the ones carrying vision. He comes for the ones who wake up and decide to walk in purpose even when it's hard. He comes for the ones who refuse to bow to fear, who keep showing up when they could have tapped out a long time ago. The greater your purpose, the greater your pressure. It's not just a cliche, that's truth. When you carry something heavy, the weight shows up in the battles you fight. You've been wondering why life feels like it's been hitting you from every side, why just when you think things are getting better, another challenge comes. That's not coincidence. That's spiritual warfare. That's resistance. That's the enemy trying to wear you out before you reach the place you were destined to stand in. But the fact that you're still here says something. The fact that you're still standing, still breathing, still trying, still hoping, that's evidence of how powerful you are. The enemy has tried everything: depression, fear, anxiety, distraction, isolation. And yet, here you are. That's proof. You're still moving. You're still dangerous to darkness. You're still headed towards something he can't stop if you don't stop yourself. He can't steal your calling, so he tries to steal your confidence. He can't block your purpose, so he tries to blur your focus. Some of you are fighting not just for yourselves, but for generations coming after you. You're breaking cycles, you're undoing strongholds, you're walking paths that were never walked in your family before, and the enemy knows if you keep going, you're going to shift everything. He knows if you keep believing, keep building, keep praying, keep showing up, it's only a matter of time before you walk in the fullness of what was always yours. So he hits you with fear. He floods your mind with lies. He tries to make you think you're not enough, that you're too late, that you missed your moment, that it's too hard, too complicated, too far out of reach. But that's just noise. That's smoke. That's deception. The real truth is, if you weren't powerful, he wouldn't be wasting his energy trying to stop you. That attack on your life is not about who you are now. It's about who you're becoming. It's about who you're called to be. It's about the impact you're going to make. He saw the potential before you did. He saw the anointing before you recognized it. He saw the power you were carrying even when you were still questioning your worth. And now that you've started to wake up, now that you've started to move, now that you've started to speak life where death used to reign, now that you've started to believe that there's more for you, he's afraid. He's scrambling. He's doing whatever he can to knock you off track. That's why the attacks have gotten louder. That's why the pressure's gotten heavier, because you're closer than you think. And the only thing he's got left is to try and make you give up before you get there. You've got to fight different now. You've got to stop taking these attacks personally and start seeing them prophetically. This isn't just about what's going wrong. It's about what's about to go right. It's about the breakthrough that's building, the doors that are unlocking, the platform that's forming under your feet. You don't have time to entertain fear. You don't have time to question your calling. You don't have time to negotiate with doubt. The enemy is afraid of your movement, so keep moving. He's afraid of your voice, so keep speaking. He's afraid of your obedience, so keep obeying. Every delay, every setback, every moment that felt like defeat, it wasn't final. It was part of the process. It was allowed not to break you, but to build something in you that can't be shaken. The enemy thought the pain would paralyze you, but instead it awakened purpose. He thought the heartbreak would make you bitter, but it made you wiser. He thought the loss would make you quit, but it made you strong. He miscalculated. He underestimated the resilience of someone who's been through the fire and chose to keep walking anyway. You've been chosen, not because you're perfect, but because you're willing. Because you keep getting back up, because you refuse to settle, because something in you believes that there's more. That belief is dangerous. That hope is powerful. That faith is a weapon. And that's why the attacks are so fierce. You've been marked. You've been called. And what you're carrying is not just for you. It's for people you haven't met yet. It's for situations you haven't stepped into yet. It's for moments that are coming. And when they come, you'll be ready, not because you avoided the battle, but because you walked through it. You don't get attacked at this level unless your future carries serious weight. You don't get tested like this unless what you're about to do is going to change lives. The enemy knows what's on the other side of your obedience. He knows the ripple effect your yes will create. He knows that your freedom will lead to someone else's healing. Your breakthrough will unlock someone else's breakthrough. That's why he's fighting you. That's why it's been hard. That's why you've questioned if you're strong enough to keep going. But you are. This battle is confirmation. Confirmation that you're on the right path. Confirmation that your future is laced with impact. Confirmation that your presence is a problem for darkness. So don't be discouraged by the attack. Recognize it for what it is. It's fear. It's desperation. It's a last-ditch effort to stop something that can't be stopped unless you let it. You're not the victim in this story. You're the threat. You're the answer to a problem. You're the light in a dark space. You're the one carrying something this world needs. Delay is not denial, it's development. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't happen. Just because the door hasn't opened doesn't mean it's locked. Just because the opportunity hasn't arrived doesn't mean it's not on the way. The time between the promise and the fulfillment can feel like a wilderness, a wasteland of waiting where nothing seems to grow, nothing seems to change. And it's easy to wonder if you heard wrong, moved wrong, or if somehow it just passed you by. But the delay is not God ignoring you, it's God preparing you. There's something about the waiting season that exposes what the winning season can't. In the delay, you learn patience, and not the kind of patience that's passive, but the kind that's active, the kind that grinds in private, the kind that sharpens in silence, the kind that keeps showing up even when nothing is clapping for you, when everything around you says, give up, and your spirit still whispers, keep going. That's development. That's training. That's spiritual conditioning. That's the behind the scenes transformation that no one claps for, but everyone benefits from when your time finally comes. When God gives you a promise, he's not just thinking about the result. He's focused on the process. You can be ready for the blessing in your heart, but not ready for it in your character. You can desire the platform, but not have the strength to carry the weight of it. You can want the relationship, the business, the influence, the breakthrough, but if the foundation isn't strong, the very thing you prayed for can crush you instead of elevate you. So what looks like delay is actually protection. What feels like being held back is often being held together. You've got to learn to embrace the delay as part of your development, not the denial of your destiny. You're not being overlooked. You're being built. You're not behind, you're being aligned. The right thing at the wrong time is still the wrong thing. And God loves you too much to hand you something that your current version can't handle. That's why he works in the dark. That's why he allows seasons where nothing seems to make sense. That's why he sometimes strips you down, not to shame you, but to shape you into the kind of person who can not only receive the blessing, but multiply it, protect it, and sustain it. We live in a world that celebrates speed, instant success, overnight fame, fast results. But kingdom timing doesn't operate on hype, it operates on harvest. And a harvest requires planting, watering, weeding, pruning, all before you ever see fruit. You've got to learn how to be faithful in the field before you're trusted with the fruit. The delay is your classroom. It's where your roots go deep. It's where your motives are purified. It's where your character is solidified. You think you're waiting for the promise, but the promise might be waiting on you to mature into the person who's ready to carry it. Don't mistake movement for progress. Sometimes the most powerful seasons are the ones where you're being still. Not still out of laziness, but still in obedience, still in trust, still in surrender. You don't have to always be busy to be productive. Sometimes the most important work is the internal work, healing, forgiving, letting go of ego, letting go of timelines you created that were never God's. That's development. That's where real change happens, not in public victories, but in private decisions. You're not forgotten in delay, you're being formed. The spotlight will come when the foundation is solid. God is not interested in giving you a stage that will destroy you. He's not impressed with performance. He's invested in endurance. He wants you to last, to endure, to carry what he's placed inside you for the long haul. So if it's taking longer than you thought, it's not because he's distant. It's because he's crafting something in you that can't be microwaved. It has to be marinated. It has to be cultivated. It has to go through fire and pressure so that when the moment comes, you don't fold, you flourish. You've got to keep the right perspective in the delay. You've got to talk to yourself different. Instead of saying, why is this taking so long? Start asking, what am I supposed to learn here? Instead of asking, when will it happen? Ask, who am I becoming while I wait? That shift in perspective is power. That mindset is maturity. It's easy to believe when everything is going right, but can you believe when there's no visible progress? Can you stay committed when the results don't match the effort? Can you trust the process when the process is hidden? Delay reveals what you really believe. It reveals whether you're in this for the outcome or the obedience, whether you're chasing validation or you're walking in purpose. Anyone can keep going when the rewards are flowing, but it's the ones who stay locked in during the silence that see the biggest breakthroughs. The ones who build with no applause, the ones who serve without recognition, the ones who sow when nothing's growing. Those are the ones who explode when their time comes, not because they just got lucky, but because they were being developed while others were distracted. The delay is also testing your stewardship. What are you doing with what you have now? How are you handling the small? Are you treating your current season with the same intensity you bring to the season you're praying for? Because the way you handle this level determines if you're ready for the next. God is watching how you manage what looks like not enough. He's watching how you lead when there's no one to lead but yourself. That's what builds real discipline, real leadership, real power. Every great move starts with a long pause. Every promise worth having is worth preparing for. If you're in a delay, it's not the end of the story. It's the middle. And the middle is where endurance is built. The middle is where clarity rises. The middle is where God shapes the kind of faith that can't be moved by outcomes. You may not see the full picture yet, but What's being formed in the delay is just as important as what's coming at the end of it. Don't confuse the quiet with the quitting. God is still working. You are still growing. The vision is still alive. The purpose is still active. The pace may not look how you pictured, but the progress is happening. Even when it feels like you're standing still, something is moving inside you. The delay isn't dead space, it's deep space. A place where roots are reaching down before anything rises up. A place where patience is being perfected and your heart is being aligned with the assignment. Faith isn't about feelings, it's about focus. Feelings will lie to you. They'll tell you you're not enough. They'll tell you to quit. They'll tell you it's not working, even when it is. They'll scream at you when things get hard, when people leave, when prayers seem unanswered. And if you live by your feelings, you'll always be at the mercy of the moment. But faith, real faith, is about keeping your eyes locked on the vision when your emotions are screaming the opposite. Faith says, I don't have to feel it to believe it. Faith says, even when I don't see a way, I trust there is one. Your feelings change. Your faith can't. If your focus is tied to how you feel, then every time you hit resistance, you'll retreat. Every time you feel tired, you'll tap out. Every time it gets uncomfortable, you'll quit. But when your focus is tied to your conviction, when it's tied to your purpose, tied to your calling, tied to something bigger than your emotions, then your actions are stable even when your mood isn't. That's where strength is built. That's where growth happens. Not when everything feels good, but when you move forward regardless of how it feels. Focus is a discipline. It's not something that just happens. You have to train it every day. You have to choose what you're going to fix your eyes on. Will you focus on the pain or will you focus on the promise? Will you let the obstacles distract you or will you use them as stepping stones? Life is always trying to pull your attention. The enemy knows he doesn't have to destroy you if he can distract you. If he can get you chasing comfort, chasing clout, chasing approval, chasing perfection, he's got you spinning in circles. But if your focus is fixed, if your eyes are locked in, if your spirit says, I know where I'm going, then no weapon formed against you can prosper. Not because the weapon won't form, but because your focus makes it ineffective. You can't afford to give your energy to everything. Every notification, every opinion, every failure, every comparison, it's noise. And noise kills focus. You've got to learn how to shut it down. Not every voice deserves a seat at your table. Not every thought deserves your attention. Some things you've got to starve so your purpose can thrive. That means saying no. That means guarding your time, guarding your peace, guarding your mind. You've got to treat your focus like it's sacred, because it is. It's the fuel of your future. What you focus on grows. What you water will rise. If you keep watering fear, it will grow. If you keep feeding self-doubt, it will multiply. But if you water faith, if you feed vision, if you pour into purpose, then even in hard seasons, you'll keep rising. Feelings might visit, but they can't drive. You can acknowledge them without being ruled by them. It's okay to feel overwhelmed, but still show up. It's okay to feel afraid, but still speak life. It's okay to feel exhausted, but still take the next step. That's what faith looks like in real time. It's not perfect. It's not pretty. It's gritty. It's raw. It's choosing the higher road when the lower one is screaming your name. It's believing when the evidence isn't there yet. It's walking when you'd rather sit. It's building when you'd rather break. That kind of faith can't be faked. That kind of focus can't be bought. It's earned. It's forged. It's grown in the moments when quitting would have been easier, but you chose to keep going. Sometimes focus is simply saying, I know what I said yes to. It's reminding yourself why you started. It's remembering the vision you saw before the struggle showed up. When the chaos hits, when the feelings fade, when the applause stops, you've got to go back to that original conviction. What did you say yes to? Who did you say yes for? Was it for your healing? Was it for your legacy? Was it for your future. Don't let temporary emotion cause you to sabotage a permanent calling. You were built for more than survival. You were built to create, to lead, to impact, to endure. And focus is how you activate that. You've got to train your mind to serve your mission. Every time your thoughts wander to fear, bring them back to faith. Every time your mind drifts toward failure, bring it back to the lesson. Focus is a weapon. It clears out confusion and strengthens direction. It doesn't make the storm go away, but it helps you see through it. That's why some people can go through hell and still move forward. It's not because they didn't feel the fire. It's because they didn't let the fire blind them. They focused on what was ahead, not what was against them. You've got to know what matters most. Your energy is limited. Your time is precious. You can't waste it trying to please everybody. You can't waste it reacting to every critic, every doubt, every delay. You've got a mission. You've got a race to run, and you don't win a race by looking around. You win by looking ahead. So stay in your lane, stay on your path. Your story is yours, and comparison will only cloud your vision. You don't need to be like them. You need to be the most focused, faithful, disciplined version of you. And when your focus is right, even in the valley, you can grow. Even in the drought, you can produce. Even in the fire, you can be refined. Because faith isn't about waiting for perfect conditions. It's about trusting that even in imperfect situations, something perfect is happening. That's the power of focus. It aligns you with the process. Even when the outcome is uncertain, it helps you keep sowing, keep showing up, keep serving, keep stretching. Because when your focus is locked on the vision, not the emotion, you stop chasing highs and start building habits. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop doubting and start deciding. People who focus don't need hype. They don't need a crowd. They don't need the feeling to be right. They just need the vision to be clear. They wake up, and even if nothing looks like it's working, they move with intention. They speak with purpose. They walk in faith because they know that purpose isn't about being in the perfect mood. It's about making the decision to keep going, keep growing, and keep believing no matter what it looks like or feels like. That's what makes the difference. That's what separates people who fade from people who finish. Focus, steady, strong, relentless, not driven by feeling, anchored by faith.